Pragg against Hikaru, the Armageddon match, d4 on the board, knight f6, and what we have the London system, Hikaru already rubbing his palms on his head, d5, e3, c5, breaking in the center, knight to f3 and knight to c6 by Hikaru here, challenging the pawn on d4, bishop b5 pins the knight and Hikaru brings his queen now to b6, attacking the bishop. Well, he has to do something about the bishop now, so the pawn comes to c4, defending it, and now bishop g4, pinning the knight on f3, but this is a slight mistake. Knight comes out to c3, pawn to e6 defends the center, and as of now Pragg is better. He castles his king to safety and Hikaru is left wondering, challenges the bishop with a6 and now takes on c5. He is left with a difficult choice. Queen takes, knight a4 attacks the queen, and Pragg is completely dominating. Queen drops back to a7, bishop takes e6 check, pawn takes c6, rook comes to c1 and black is not castled. Bishop e7, c takes d5, knight takes d5 and the pawn on c6 is weak. Pawn to s3 attacks the bishop. Hikaru captures the knight on f3, queen takes f3 and now you can see the beautiful queen in an attacking position. Hikaru struggles, rook to c8, but simply here bishop to e5 attacking g7. Hikaru is forced to castle now, but the attack will not stop. Rook comes to c4, rook lift, might come to g4 later, and now c5 trying to break open on the queen side, but it's not enough. Rook c1 doubling up rooks. You can see there are tactical ideas. Knight to b6, a big blunder by Hikaru. Queen g4 threatening mate on g7. Hikaru has to play the pawn to g6, and now knight takes, queen takes, and pawn to b4. The pawn on c5 is pinned. Hikaru is struggling. He shakes his head. Bishop d4 is a threat as well. He plays queen to b7, pawn takes c5, and now this is complete loss. Pawn to h4. f6 attacks the bishop, bishop d6, a beautiful move by Pragg. f5, queen moves, and now rook to d8, it's not enough. Pawn to h5 will basically force opening of the king side. g5, e4, Hikaru will grab this pawn, but then the queen will walk into e5 and that should be game over. Pressure on the e6 pawn. Hikaru plays queen to d7, but now pawn to h6, threatening mate on g7. Bishop f8 is the only move, and now queen takes g5 check, king to f7. The king is struggling in the open. Bishop takes f8, and this is where Hikaru resigns because queen g7, mate is incoming and there is simply no defense.